Yo folks, tonight we're talking Grenada. This little island nation isn't just a dot on the map, it's a place with a history spicier than its famous nutmeg. Seriously, their nutmeg is off the charts. It's like the Beyoncé of nutmeg. You know how some places are like, we were discovered by? Grenada's like, hold my nutmeg latte. They've seen it all. Indigenous peoples, European colonizers, revolutions, even a US invasion. Talk about a wild ride. So buckle up, people. We're about to dive into the fascinating, hilarious, and sometimes unbelievable story of Grenada. Way before Columbus was rocking those bad navigational skills, Grenada was chilling with its original inhabitants, the Arawak people. These guys were all about that peaceful island life, fishing, farming, you know, the good stuff. They called the island Camahone, which some say means island of reefs. Others say it means place with really good Wi-Fi. Okay, I made that last one up. Life was good for the Arawaks. No traffic, no emails, just sunshine and good vibes. Then, those European explorers showed up. Let's just say, things were about to get a whole lot more complicated. Picture this. It's 1498, the dawn of a new era, filled with exploration and discovery. The Caribbean, with its lush landscapes and pristine beaches, is a paradise waiting to be found. Columbus is lost at sea again. His ships are battered by storms and his crew is weary. The vast ocean stretches endlessly before them, with no land in sight. He stumbles upon Grenada and thinks, sweet, more land to claim for Spain. The island's beauty is undeniable with its dense forests and inviting shores. He names it Concepcion, probably because he couldn't pronounce Camahone. Classic Columbus move. The name sticks and the island is marked on European maps. The Spanish weren't exactly the best house guests. They arrived with grand ambitions, but their methods were far from noble. They weren't bringing tapas and flamenco dancing. Instead of sharing their culture, they imposed their will. More like disease and forced labor. The indigenous people suffered greatly under Spanish rule, facing harsh conditions and relentless exploitation. Not cool, Spain. Not cool. The impact on the native population was devastating, leaving a lasting scar on the island's history. The Arawaks put up a fight, but the Spanish had horses and muskets. The battles were fierce, but the technological advantage of the Spanish was overwhelming. Not exactly a fair fight. The Arawaks, with their traditional weapons, stood little chance against the well-armed invaders. By the 1600s, most of the Arawak population was gone, victims of disease and brutality. The once thriving communities were reduced to memories and ruins. It's a dark chapter in Grenada's history, but it's important to remember. The resilience of the Arawak people and the lessons of the past continue to shape the island's identity today. After the Spanish, the French took a swing at running Grenada. They brought with them, not just their culture and architecture, but also their culinary delights. They introduced their love of croissants and fine pastries, but also a darker legacy: slavery. Yes, more forced labor to fuel their economic ambitions. This time it was all about sugar. The lush fields of Grenada were perfect for growing sugarcane. Europeans were hooked on the sweet stuff, and the demand for sugar skyrocketed. Sugar became a highly sought-after commodity in European markets. Grenada transformed into a sugar-producing machine, with vast plantations and mills dedicated to processing the cane. The British showed up in the 1700s, eyeing the lucrative sugar trade. After some back and forth, including several battles with the French, the British eventually took control of Grenada. They raised their flag and established their rule, continuing the sugar production with even greater intensity. The British kept the sugar plantations going, expanding them to meet the ever-growing demand in Europe. They relied heavily on enslaved Africans to do the backbreaking work, enduring long hours under the scorching sun. Life for enslaved Africans on those plantations was brutal. They faced harsh conditions, with little regard for their well-being. They were treated like property, not human beings, subjected to inhumane treatment and severe punishments. But even in the face of such injustice, they resisted. Acts of defiance and rebellion were common, as they fought for their dignity and freedom. They held on to their cultures and traditions, celebrating their heritage through music, dance, and storytelling. These cultural practices planted the seeds for future generations to continue the fight for their freedom, leaving a lasting legacy of resilience and strength. Section 5, Freedom Time. Grenada gets its groove back. Fast forward to the 19th century. People in Europe are finally realizing that slavery is messed up. In 1834, slavery is abolished in the British Empire. About time. But even though slavery was over, life for most Grenadians wasn't exactly peachy. They were still ruled by the British, and the economy was still all about those plantations. Change was slow, like dial-up internet slow, but Grenadians are resilient people. They kept pushing for more control over their own destiny. Finally, on February 7, 1974, Grenada became an independent nation. Cue the confetti and soca music. Section 6. Revolution and Intervention, a Caribbean Cold War clash. Independence was great and all, but things got complicated again in the late 1970s. Grenada, a small island nation in the Caribbean, found itself at the center of a geopolitical struggle. The island's strategic location and its political leanings made it a focal point for both regional and international powers. A charismatic but controversial leader named Maurice Bishop came to power. Bishop, with his dynamic personality and revolutionary ideas, quickly gained a significant following. His vision for Grenada was ambitious, aiming to transform the nation into a socialist paradise. He promised a revolution to improve the lives of everyday Grenadians. Under his leadership, there were significant efforts to uplift the community. Education and healthcare were prioritized, and there was a palpable sense of hope among the people. Bishop's government built schools and clinics, but it also became friendly with Cuba and the Soviet Union. This alliance was seen as a threat by the United States, which was deeply entrenched in the Cold War, battling for influence against the Soviet bloc. This made the United States nervous. Remember the Cold War? Yeah, this was that. The US was wary of any communist influence in its backyard and viewed Grenada's alignment with Cuba and the Soviet Union as a direct challenge. Things came to a head in 1983 when Bishop was overthrown and executed by a rival faction within his own party. The internal strife and the violent coup shocked the nation and the world. The US, fearing a communist takeover, invaded Grenada. The invasion, dubbed Operation Urgent Fury, was swift and decisive, but it left a lasting impact on the island and its people. The invasion was controversial, to say the least. International reactions were mixed, with some countries condemning the US action while others supported it. Some people saw it as a necessary intervention, while others called it an illegal invasion. The debate over the US intervention in Grenada continues to this day, reflecting the complexities of Cold War politics and the enduring impact on the island nation. Section 7. Grenada Today, Spicing Up the Future. So, where does that leave Grenada today? Well, they're still recovering from the political turmoil of the 1980s, but they're also thriving as a nation. Tourism is booming, those beaches are no joke, and Grenada is still known as the Spice Island. They're even exporting their famous nutmeg to make pumpkin spice lattes around the world. You're welcome, basic humans. Grenada's story is a reminder that even the smallest nations can have a big impact on the world stage. They've been through a lot, but they've always come out swinging. Section 8. Conclusion. From those chill Arawak days to the sugar plantations to the revolution and beyond, Grenada's journey has been anything but boring. They've been colonized, fought for freedom, and even had a starring role in the Cold War. Talk about a country with some stories to tell. So, next time you see Grenada on a map, don't just think tiny island. Think tiny island with a giant history. And maybe sprinkle a little nutmeg on your life just for good measure. Stay spicy, Grenada.